It's Friday, it's 8 a.m. It's Wake Up Cricket powered by Pavilion Picks, the last of the week. Well, if you're an SRH fan, you would be so happy looking at the team and the way they played yesterday. And if you have missed out on everything that's happened in the world of cricket, you're exactly in the right place. Now, before we get into things, like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff, if you haven't already. Now, let's get into it.
Well, if you missed anything at all, this is your place where we have it covered for you. Let's get started. So it is Klaasen's 50 and Abhishek onslaught that hand SRH first points of the season. Sunrisers Hyderabad became the first team in IPL 2026 to successfully defend a total, and for that they had to post 226 for 8, the highest total of the season so far. Even that did not look safe at one point, but in the end, Kolkata Knight Riders fell short by 65 runs. Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma set the platform for SRH by adding 82 in 5.4 overs. Head made 46 of 21 balls and Abhishek 48 of the same number of balls. KKR did make a comeback in fact in the middle overs, but Andre Klaasen's 52 of 35 deliveries ensured they picked up 51 in the last 4 overs. Finn Allen, batting on the same strip where he had scored a blazing 100 against South Africa in the T20 World Cup semi-final, started the chase by smashing 24 runs of David Payne. But Harsh Dubey had him caught and bowled from the other end. Ankrish Raghuvanshi's 27 ball 50 steered KKR to 110 for 3 in 10 overs, but his run out soon after proved to be the turning point. Rinku Singh's brief resistance was futile, and KKR were eventually all out for 161 in 16 overs.
Now, it was only about times until a team defended a total, and it was only about time where two of the worst bowling attacks up until now in this IPL face off each other, and you find out which is a better bowling attack, at least for on the day like yesterday. Now, I don't mean it when I say two of the worst bowling attacks, but they don't have the best bowling attacks as compared to the batting lineup. But yesterday for SRH, it's textbook, right? Everything worked for them. Their opening partnership worked extremely well. Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma getting 40 odd runs is exactly what they need, especially at this run rate in which they went on to score. And then there was a bit of a collapse, after which you did see Nitish Kumar Reddy get those runs. For Nitish Kumar Reddy to be the man of the match is extremely positive for his own sake, because last year he didn't have the best of seasons. Then him playing for India, he didn't score a lot of runs in the test format. For him to be able to get this man of the match, player of the match, and for him to be recognized in itself, he talked about this in the post match, where this is the kind of match he finally wanted, and it's finally come about, right? So he did score a lot of runs. SRH post a very good total. You need SRH to score more than 200 runs for their bowlers to defend any sort of target, and that's exactly what happened. When you get early wickets, especially if you're chasing a target of more than 200, you know the team is going to be under pressure. And if Rahane and the openers, Rahane and Finn Allen don't get off to a very good start, and with Rahane getting out very early, you already know Kolkata Knight Riders is under pressure, because apart from the top 3 and 4, they don't have that solid batting lineup to go to have that firepower to chase that 200. And that's exactly what happened. Kolkata Knight Riders lost early wickets, and you saw SRH win. Very textbook SRH victory that.
But Ashwin, you did say that these are two of the worst bowling attacks, and you did mean it. We have that clip, and the fans of both the teams can do the honors of trolling him. Moving on, Thushara takes Sri Lankan cricket to court over IPL NOC denial. Nuwan Thushara has filed a lawsuit against Sri Lankan cricket in the Colombo District Court after being denied a no objection certificate to participate in the IPL. The fast bowler's case hinges on the fact that his contract with SLC ended on March 31st, 2026, after which he intended to step away from international cricket. He argues that requiring an NOC despite no longer being centrally contracted is unreasonable and restricts his ability to earn a livelihood. Tushara was said to be a part of the Royal Challengers Bangalore for IPL 2026. SLC denied the NOC after Tushara failed to meet newly enforced fitness standards introduced following Sri Lankan cricket's disappointing T20 World Cup campaign. These include multiple physical tests such as endurance, sprinting, agility, and body composition, with strict minimum benchmarks now required. Tushara has argued that the fitness criteria were never previously used as a condition for granting NOCs, and that his fitness levels are consistent with past seasons where he was allowed to play overseas leagues. The case, which names SLC officials, including President Shami Silva, is said to be heard on April 9th. However, the legal timeline make it almost certain that Thushara will miss a significant portion of the IPL. Under International Cricket Council regulations, players require an NOC from the home board to participate in overseas leagues, but boards have full discretion over the conditions for granting them. The dispute echoes a recent case involving Tabrez Shamsi, where a South African court ruled in favor of the player after Cricket South Africa denied him an NOC despite him not being centrally contracted. Tushara's case could now set another important precedent, potentially redefining how much control boards can exert over players who are no longer under contract.
Now there are two sides of the coin, right? If you look at Tushara's point of view, well, under his own circumstances, if he's talking about how his fitness has been consistent throughout the seasons and he's been able to play franchise tournaments before, why can't he play that now? And first of all, it was only about times until he took it to the court, because I felt like it was a long time coming, and I don't know why he waited for so long. Might have his own reasons. But more importantly, if you look at it from the board's point of view, now I don't know what the board's actual reasoning is, but if you just look at it from the board's point of view, if your player is not fit enough, and if you think if he's going to play a whole franchise tournament and he's just going to be injured and not be able to represent your country, and if you want to deny the NOC, you might just. It's the same case as Cricket Australia not clearing Cameron Green to bowl, even though he is batting, because you don't want the player to get injured and to you don't want the player to come back and then send him to rehab and not be able to represent your country. So you would then not give NOC because you would want the player to be fit if he's not clearing all these fitness tests, which I think is great to have to begin with. But Tushara would only know if that's the actual reason or not. He wouldn't take the case to the court if that's the actual reason. I would hope that's the actual reason. If that is the honest reason, I think that's okay.
But Tushara's case is slightly unique, like Tabrez Shamsi's was, because what he's saying is that he had stepped away from international cricket on 31st March 2026, which means that April onwards, he wasn't a player who would be under the purview of Sri Lankan cricket. And it's also the fact that once you have decided to step away, do you take such action? Because you wouldn't otherwise take it, because it
Hmm.
would jeopardize your chance to represent your country,
True,
which if you
true,
intend to do, you'd forego
true. Fair.
any such contract. Nonetheless, we move on to the next story, which is on Rassie van den Dusen retiring from international cricket. Rassie van den Dusen has announced his retirement from international cricket, bringing an end to a career that made a significant impact in white ball formats for South Africa. In an emotional statement, Van der Dusen described representing South Africa as the greatest honor of his life, thanking fans, teammates, and family while encouraging young cricketers to dream big. The 36-year-old played 18 tests, 71 ODIs, and 57 T20Is between 2018 and 2025, finishing with the second highest ODI average for South Africa behind AB de Villiers. His strongest impact came in ODIs, where he scored 6 centuries and 17 50s, often anchoring the innings in pressure situations. He was a standout performer in multiple ICC events, including the 2019 World Cup, where he was among South Africa's few bright spots, and the 2023 edition, where he scored 2 centuries. He also topped the team's run charts at the 2025 Champions Trophy. Though he showed promise in tests early in his career, including a memorable 98, he never converted that into a century and gradually moved out of the red ball setup. Van der Dusen had not featured for South Africa in the past 7 months and was not offered a new contract by Cricket South Africa for the 26-27 season, effectively signaling the end of his international journey. He will continue to play domestic cricket for the Lions and remains active in franchise leagues while also focusing on mentoring the next generation of South African players. As noted by CSA director Enoch Nakwi, Van der Dusen's legacy goes beyond numbers, remembered as a senior figure who has helped shape team culture and led by example.
And my heart breaks for him because he's the kind of batter I looked forward to seeing every single time South Africa played, because he's such a textbook batter. He's technically sound. He's very old fashioned in the sense that he doesn't strike really big. He has a T20 strike rate of 128, not the most impressive, if anything, not impressive at all in this modern age. But all that being said, he was very textbook. You would see him and you would You know what you're getting from him. He had an ODI average of, he still has an ODI average of 50. Good on him for retiring with an ODI average of 50. Something Virat should have actually learned from in this test career. But he has an ODI average of 50 with a ODI striker of 87. Quite impressive if you ask me. And in the last three ODIs that he played, he got three consecutive 50s, which means a lot of people actually assume that he would make it to the 2027 ODI World Cup, not because of the three consecutive 50s, but because of his ODI record as it is. But the man's 37 years old. I think CSA would have taken that into consideration. I don't know why people take age into consideration if you're scoring a lot of runs, and he was scoring a lot of runs. I mean, it had been a while since he scored a 50, but the last three innings, you have to take into consideration the fact that he got three consecutive 50s. But yeah, he was just the kind of batter that I looked forward to seeing. I'm glad he retired on his own terms, but of course, it's also because he was not contracted, so it might not have been on his own terms. But yeah, he's played a lot of cricket. He has a Test average of 30, so he's represented South African Test cricket, ODI format, and T20 format, and played hell lot of cricket. So I'm glad he's continuing to play domestic circuit. He's continuing to play a lot of cricket, the game that he loves. And yeah, good on him. Hopefully, his second innings is a lot better than his first. And even when his first innings was a lot, his was good in itself. Good lord, I can't get words out of my mouth.
But Ashwin, you did get out a sentence out of your mouth, which was about Virat Kohli. Why did you drag Virat Kohli into it? You up to something? Anyway, Georgia Wall becomes world number one but stays grounded amid a rapid rise. Georgia Wall has completed a stunning rise to become the number one ranked T20I batter in the world, achieving the feat just 12 matches into her international career, the fastest ascent in nearly 2 decades. The 22-year-old overtook her opening partner Beth Mooney at the top of the International Cricket Council rankings, following a maiden T20I century against West Indies. Despite the milestone, Wall was quick to downplay the achievement, insisting she does not yet see herself as the best batter in the world and remains focused on contributing to the Australian team. Her rise has been remarkably swift, drawing comparisons to Charlotte Edwards, who was amongst the quickest to reach number one during the early years of T20 cricket. Seen as a long term successor to Elisa Healy at the top of the order, Wall has combined power with consistency, averaging close to 40 with an aggressive strike rate. Her breakthrough has also coincided with a run of consistent opportunities in the side, having played 13 consecutive matches across formats, a stretch that has included both an ODI and T20I century. With the T20 World Cup in England approaching, Wall is set to play a key role as Australia look to reclaim global titles after recent semi final exits.
Well, the aggressive strike rate that Mega talked about, she averages 39, so yes, close to 40. The aggressive strike rate is 156, which in this modern age is great, but it's also one of the highest. To have a strike rate of 156 is absolute insanity, and she's been doing that consistently. Of course, it's only been 12 T20s, which is also why this news makes headlines, is the fact that she becomes the number one T20 batter after only playing 12 T20Is. But it's the fact that she strikes at 156, which is insane when you think about it. Because of the way she, it's also because of the way she sets off the start for Australia, and she's been doing that consistently and scoring runs. So she's scoring 40 runs almost at a strike rate of 156. And yes, good on her to stay grounded. Good on her for being able to not admit, but to stay humble and say that she's not the best T20 batter. But to be able to do this consistently, and if she is able to do this consistently across seasons, even if she's able to strike it more than 135 consistently, it will be immense. Because when you look at someone like a Smriti Mandana, when you look at someone like a Laura Woolward, or even Amelia Kerr, who've been scoring a lot of runs, or even Richa Ghosh for that matter. Richa Ghosh is the most explosive wicketkeeper batter India has ever produced. They don't have strike rates of more than 140, 145 consistently. The fact that she has a strike rate of 156 batting on the top of the order just says something about how she's been able to go about batting. Megha, I have a question for you. England, over the years, especially last year, has been a very slow pitch as compared to what people assume it to be. And the World Cup this time around is in England, of course. Do you think she would be able to replicate this sort of a strike rate in England?
Well, I do feel it might taper down a bit, but it wouldn't dramatically change. And she's been waiting for this opportunity for the longest time, because with
True.
Elisa Healy around, she had to wait for her time. And when Elisa Healy was injured, when she sneaked in, she came up with performances that made it impossible for the team to keep her out for too long. And eventually, with
True.
Elisa Healy retired, now she'd be a part of the side on a consistent basis. I do feel that she's going to leave an impact during the World Cup. Do we get to
But
move on to the next story? Do I have your permission for it?
yes.
Thank you. Australia to tour Zimbabwe for ODI series after 8-year gap. Australia men's team are set to tour Zimbabwe for a three-match ODI series in September, marking their return to the country for the very first time in 8 years. All matches will be played at the Harare Sports Club in September, and the dates are 15th, 18th, and 20th. Australia last visited Zimbabwe in 2018 for a T20 tri-series, while the previous ODI assignment there dates back to 2014. The two sides most recently met during 2026 T20 World Cup, where Zimbabwe pulled off a notable win. The series is an important step in preparation for the 2027 ODI World Cup, which Zimbabwe will co host alongside South Africa and Namibia. Zimbabwe Cricket Managing Director Gibmore Makoni highlighted the significance of hosting a top side like Australia, both for team development and fan engagement. Zimbabwe are also actively working to host more international fixtures, with potential tours from Bangladesh and Afghanistan later this year. Long term plans include expanding their test calendar in the next World Test Championship cycle. There are also ambitions to stage a landmark test against England in 2027 at the upcoming Victoria Falls venue, signaling Zimbabwe's intent to re establish itself more prominently in the international cricket landscape.
Now, yesterday we talked about how Zimbabwe is hosting India. Today we are talking about how Zimbabwe is hosting Australia. I think this is great for Zimbabwe cricket. And to talk about records, because we have to do that, I did that yesterday and I gave Zimbabwe a lot of wins yesterday. Australia and Zimbabwe have played 33 ODI matches, in which Australia, of course, won 29 of them. They've only lost three, which is not a surprise when you think about it. And I got the stats right this time around, where yesterday Zimbabwe won quite a bit against India. And I was wrong, of course. But right, coming back to the news itself, it's great to see Zimbabwe host so many matches and host so many matches in one of the most historic grounds, and that's Harare. It's good to see Zimbabwe cricket play against big nations. I talked about this yesterday. It's the same old story. The fact that they're able to play against England, Australia, and India consistently, especially heading into the 2027 ODI World Cup, you would hope that they're coming into the World Cup with a lot of match practice, especially because I think, if I'm not mistaken, they are one of the countries hosting the World Cup. South Africa, Namibia, and Zimbabwe. They are going to host the World Cup. So they, of course, get automatic qualification, anyways. And yeah, heading into the World Cup, you would want the hosting teams to be informed, to be able to play a lot of matches, to come into the World Cup not surprised, but to come into the World Cup knowing that they can compete. And the fact that Zimbabwe is almost going to host a test match against England in their country again says something about where they want to be in the world of cricket. Now, hosting a test nation like England, but also hosting a test match in your country comes with a lot of money. Especially in a country like Zimbabwe, get you're going to face a lot of loss in terms of financial loss. Even then, the fact that they want to go through with it just says where they want to be in the world of cricket. And I think it's so great and it's so good. If Zimbabwe, like I said yesterday, if they can come up in the world of cricket, you only know that the game is going to get popular.
In fact, we saw last year where they played around nine tests, which was
Yes.
probably in the top bracket. And in fact, the established test sides too didn't get to play as many tests, barring the
True.
big three. And it did help their development, although in those tests they didn't fare that well. But we saw the benefits in the T20 World Cup, where although it's a
Yes.
different format, but you need top quality opponents against you, and top quality match practice. And this time as well, like they've been very proactive getting India to come over,
Mm-hmm.
and not just coming to India, they're coming to India again after 2 decades for three ODIs, but
Mm-hmm.
they're also hosting India for three T20Is, like we mentioned yesterday, and now Cricket Australia, and then they'd be tours from Afghanistan and Bangladesh as well. So they've been very actively pursuing teams to come over or to tour those teams. So that's really
Yep.
promising. Now we move on to the meme, and the meme for the day has Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, and yeah, it's April.
Well, it might seem like we dislike Rohit Sharma. We really don't. I
Yeah,
love the man.
you
I
don't.
think he's the best white ball opener India's ever had. But yeah, you gotta do this. Rohit Sharma with the World Cup trophy won the World Cup. Virat Kohli says same. Rohit Sharma says it's 1st April, April Fools. Virat Kohli says, well, it's 2nd April 2011. That being said, you know what that means? That Virat Kohli's won a World Cup. The first World Cup where he was part of for the Indian team, he won it. Rohit Sharma still hasn't won a World Cup. Well, he's won a Champions Trophy. He's won two Champions Trophies, in fact. He's also won
Not
two
ODI
T20.
World Cup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ODI. Oh yeah, ODI World Cup. Of course, I'm talking about. I mean, sure, the T20 World Cup's important and all that, but he's that trophy. It's significantly bigger because it's the ODI World Cup. But yeah, it was just making fun of the dates, making fun of the fact that a lot of people talk about how Rohit Sharma still hasn't won a World Cup. 2023 was so close yet so far, but Virat Kohli has won a World Cup. So every time there's an argument between stats and all of that, this is something that's brought up, and I thought, hey, this is hilarious. But hopefully, for Rohit Sharma's sake and India's sake, when next year, when there's a World Cup, especially in South Africa, you should know these batters love the pitches, love batting in South Africa. You would just hope that after that, you do see Rohit Sharma hold the actual World Cup because he's the winner of the World Cup. Well, that was it. I'm not going to make fun of Rohit Sharma this time around because I did that last time and I got a lot of slack, which I still stand by the way. His IPL numbers are disastrous. But that being said, he hasn't won a World Cup, and you would hope next year that he wins a World Cup. Megha, do you have any more inputs about Rohit Sharma not winning the World Cup?
Well, it's unfortunate. And like Rohit Sharma tweeted all those years back in 2011, sun rises again, and the sun does rise again. He came so close on 19th November 2023. So we're assuming that he'd go that step ahead and lift the trophy and also be a part of the Indian team that lifts the trophy. But Ashwin, today you've trolled Virat Kohli, you've trolled Rohit Sharma, you've taken a dig at SRH and KKR. What are you up to?
I'm also going to take a dig at the Chennai Super Kings, who are going to take on Punjab Kings this tonight. According to a lot of people, the Chennai Super Kings have the slowest batting lineup, the worst batting lineup, which statistically, if you think about it, is not true. But this is what a lot of people are saying. It will be interesting to see how they go about taking the Punjab Kings because they have a very solid batting lineup. And even though a lot of people didn't even get a lot of runs in the first games, they still won the game. So it will be interesting to see how the Chennai Super Kings come about, especially at home. Now, if you guys want to know how they come about, but if you don't want to follow the match, oh, you'll have to come back on Monday because we take the weekend off. You'll have to come back on Monday at 8 a.m. to know what's happened in the world of cricket. So watch out for tonight, watch out for the week games on the weekend and everything that happens in the world of cricket. And come back to us on Monday at 8 a.m. at Wake Up Cricket powered by Pavilion Picks. Until then, see you guys next time. Peace.